food and the conversation, but I just want to tell you a little bit about the wines that you had. So Sauvignon Blanc is a great wine to start a meal with. And you can continue it through the whole meal if you wanted, but it has really nice bright acidity. So as a chef, that's one of the things I always look for in wine, is it has nice acid, because it sort of cleanses your palate, and it makes you want to eat more, and it also makes you want to drink more. So really bright, vibrant, fresh flavors that Sauvignon Blanc has, nice citrusy flavor to it. And then the Chardonnay is what Cakebread Cellars makes more of than anything. We have several vineyards in the southern end of the Napa Valley. For those of you who have been here to Napa before, it's a little bit cooler. We're a little bit closer to the San Francisco Bay. You have a little bit more of that marine influence, which Chardonnay does very well with. So most of our vineyards are in the southern end of the valley. We pick all of our grapes in the middle of the night. We actually go out with lights. It looks like a UFO landed out in the middle of the vineyard. And I pick the grapes at the middle of the night so that way the grapes stay nice and cool. And that translates into the cellar. They also stay nice and cool, and you start your fermentation at a very low temperature. And it preserves the nice fruit flavor that the wine has. And then the wine spends, I think, about 8 months in French oak barrels. They do a little bit of surly aging where they stir the lees. That's the dead yeast cells that settle to the bottom. It gives it a little bit more mouthfeel, a little bit more richness to it, and a little bit more complexity. Okay? So those are the first two wines you had, and I'll just tell you a little bit about what was served. So the first course was pierogi. So I grew up on the east coast of the United States, and where I grew up there's a concentration of Eastern Europeans that settled into that area. Most of them were miners. So they worked in coal mines and things like that. And so a pierogi is like Russian or Polish. And where I grew up, they would traditionally have potatoes in it. So this had potatoes in it, but last year I went to Korea for the winery. And so I put some kimchi in, and I put a little hot kimchi sauce on the outside. So I think Sauvignon Blanc can stand up to a little bit of zip, and I thought that was a nice pairing. And then next course, in Northern California right now, it's spring. So it's a nice time. The vines are just starting to bud out. The new growing season is just beginning for us. I was actually talking to winery owners behind me. Said you guys picked your grapes already. So our growing season is just getting started. And for vegetables, that also means asparagus is one of the first vegetables that we see in the spring. So it sort of comes up from the ground. We always look forward to that season. So I wanted to showcase asparagus because asparagus has a reputation of not going with wine. But I think if you do some other things with it, you can sort of tie it in. Burrata has a nice richness to it to go with the Chardonnay. And then the polenta actually came from the winery, so I brought some things in my luggage with me. We grew corn in our garden this year, and we made our own polenta, so I shared that with you. And then the pickle, the mushrooms on top was just to add a little contrast to the richness of both the polenta and the burrata cheese. So hope you enjoyed that. Now you have scallops in front of you. We like our Chardonnay so much. We've given you 2 courses with Chardonnay, and scallops have a little bit of dukkha on top of them with a little spice mixture. So I am in India, so I make sure that you got your spice. So that's a Middle Eastern spice, and it's got cumin and coriander and sesame seeds and some pumpkin seeds. And then the sauce on the bottom is just carrot juice that's been reduced down and emulsified with some brown butter. So again, it sort of ties into the What is dukkha? Dukkha is Egyptian. It's an Egyptian condiment that they would sprinkle on their food. And so we would sprinkle that on, and this adds a little bit of interest and a little bit of spice. But that's its origin is Egyptian. Okay? Enjoy.
Thank you, Brian.